Hello, I'm John Aldridge and I'm watching the Redmen TV.
Hello, welcome to the Redmen TV post-match after Liverpool's slump. 1-0 at Martin O'Neill's Sunderland side at the Stadium of Light. Right, I've got the boys with me. Before we get into some chat, let's have a look at some of your Facebook comments. Mike, welcome back. The misfortune falls to you to read the first comment, so get stuck in, lad.
Nice one. I'll start with a little one from Jack Cairns, who said, and I probably agree with this, we got exactly what we deserved. Shocking result again. And then an asterisk, big old sigh.
I believe that is. Christoph?
Vivek V. Velen. Shankly did not talk about history. He made history. Kenny either admits his mistake in bringing most of the players in last summer, or he goes. In 2012, 8 Premier League games, and LFC's record stands at 1 win, 2 draws, 5 losses.
Speaks volumes.
Well, you know what? I can't disagree with the form side, but whether I disagree or agree with the other side, let's get into that in a minute. Wilson Noah Belkey says goodbye to 4th spot unless a miracle happens. We need to win the FA Cup to at least make our season respectable.
True that.
Well, Mike, what have we got?
I've got a belter from Steve Routledge.
A belter.
And it's a bit of a long one, so bear with me on this one. For the first time ever, I'm doubting Kenny. Wake up, Chris. Too much money wasted on players who just aren't of the quality we desire. We slated Poulsen, yet is Charlie Adam any better? Really?
I said this on the Anfield Wrap and got laughed down because the answer is yes. Anyway, carry on.
Our subs are always too late in the game. Fair comment. Like for like. And then in brackets he says shite for shite. Too many abject performances. If we played this bad under Uncle Roy, we'd be calling for his head.
Very interesting. Christoph, your last one?
Martin O'Connell. I'll probably start an uproar like I did on another page, but I think Pepe needs to go. Penalty specialist? When's the last time he saved a penalty? Or even made a world-class save? He's no Joe Hart, although a few others need to go before him.
Right, well listen, normally we'd finish the Facebook comments, but have a word.
I'm sorry, Martin, wind your neck in.
Have a word. Honestly, Martin.
Who cares?
Fuck off, Martin, honestly. Speaking for the goalkeepers union, like, you know, as I often do, get a grip. Anyway, Stephen Bierman says, I still have full confidence in Kenny. If I'm going to point fingers at any individual, it's Kamoli. I hope Dalglish doesn't let his opinion ruin the transfer window in the summer. I don't think we need to make too many buys, but I don't think it will be cheap if we take the transfer window seriously. I think we should sack Kamoli, brackets, not Kenny, and get Rafa in his place. Maybe Rafa can spot some worthy players and he wouldn't be shy about spending money, and he definitely wouldn't say we don't need any big signings in the summer. That'll also get him back at Liverpool and away from Chelsea, who don't deserve him. Right, again,
where's the start?
Stephen Beeman, you know what? Stephen Beeman comments very often on the show, and can I just say, for the first half, absolutely spot on, but I think Rafa Benitez is a manager, mate. He's not going to come back in any other capacity other than a manager, so we're not even going to touch that past there. Right, boys, disappointing performance, Mike. We're going to start with you. We were looking for 3 points from this game and we didn't get it.
Yeah, and I said it to you boys on the way down to watching the game. I couldn't see us scoring a goal. Continuation of last week, continuation of the cup final. To be honest with you, if you're looking at it, you know, it's the cup game. The cup final was a microcosm of our season in one game.
Yeah.
And then last week we could have played for 3 days and not scored against Arsenal, with the exception of the own goal.
Yeah.
And today we didn't look like scoring. We have no focal point in our team.
It's very true, Chris. What Mike's touched upon there, obviously we carried on from the cup game. People said the cup final win was luck, but you know, cup finals are generally lucky. It runs deeper than that, doesn't it?
It does. I think it's totally to do with the way that we play.
Yeah.
We press teams so little and we pass so fucking slowly.
It's predictable.
Yeah, it's so easy to defend. It's just 2 banks of 4, and then we'll pass it up, and then we just knock it off, and then we pass it up, and we knock it off. And they're literally fucking defenders are yawning. And how do we solve that?
Well, I mean, for me, we have a definite lack of creativity and vision in that side.
Yeah.
Now, Charlie Adam is meant to be that in that team. And look, we could have an entire show dedicated to what Charlie Adam's failings are. I'm not going to point the finger at Charlie Adam in this instance because I still think...
I will. He's not watching.
It's there. No, but I think he's playing too deep to influence the game the way that Charlie Adam's meant to.
I'm going to probably stick my neck on the line here, but I think we miss, not necessarily the player as such, but we miss a player like Morelos. Because without sounding like Rafa, although I like sounding like Rafa because I wish Rafa was still here.
Different issue altogether, Mike. Come on, we're not getting there. We've got 6 minutes before the camera stops.
We haven't got anyone to play in between the lines. So in between their midfield and our defence, there is no player who sees that pass. But on the other flip side of that, there is no one making them runs in behind the back four.
Don't flip side. Chris, is that not what Suarez's job is?
It should be, but he's been employed to do 2 people's jobs at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
Ultimately, he's the centre forward, he's the right winger, he's the man in between the lines, and he's the ultimate fucking Liverpool player.
He was bought to play with Fernando Torres, and then obviously that man did what he did to us, and we haven't replaced him. Andy Carroll, as much as I want him to become good, he isn't that player. He's not going to make that dart and run in behind the back.
He doesn't play on the shoulder of the last man.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, well, here's a question. Craig Bellamy has the ability to do that. Why don't we play Craig Bellamy in that position? Now, Mike, you said this to me after the game, and we're going to qualify this. Now, people have said the man's untouchable. Here's my point. Rafa Benitez, and we're not talking about Rafa Benitez as in, do we want Rafa back?
No.
Do we want Rafa back?
It's not about that.
Rafa Benitez was a tactical specialist. If Rafa Benitez takes the Chelsea job or Harry Redknapp goes and he takes the Spurs job, I personally would fear playing a Rafa Benitez side with Kenny Dalglish, Steve Clarke and Kevin Keane in charge of our club. Mike, what do you make of that?
Totally agree with you. Because they would know exactly how to play us. As Chris said, we're too predictable, we're too boring, we just play side to side football.
Wishy-washy footing.
It is wishy-washy, isn't it? Whereas a Rafa team, a tactical team would see that, soak up what we're doing, rock the ball, bang, get us on the break.
Okay,
it was something that was mentioned about Suarez actually as well, is that I think it was you, Paul, that said that if Suarez was playing under Benitez, he would be told, you are the focal point of the attack, and this is what you do.
I'll definitely take the credit for it. Doesn't sound like me, but I'll take the credit because that's very intelligent. I'll definitely have that. Go on. Anyway,
It was you, Mike. You told me that.
Probably was.
During the game tonight.
In all fairness, it was actually Chris that said it to me, so I'll happily take credit. But anyway, carry on. If under Benitez, Suarez would be given a specific role. Actually, it was Mike who said it during the game. But Fernando Torres looked lazy at times because he was told to be the centre forward. We don't have a player that does that because look at Andy Carroll. Our biggest criticism of Andy Carroll was he wasn't working hard enough for the team. And yet, if he's a centre forward,
that's his biggest downfall. He tries to get involved too much and he ends up back in his own half trying to win the ball back.
Well, I think there needs to be a balance because he's trying to make up for it by doing the hard work in positions where you centre forward.
Let's just get one thing right with Andy Carroll, though, isn't it? And me and Chris were talking about this before. Is he was starting to become into a little bit of form. He was starting to get a good run in the side. All right, he didn't have the best of games in the cup final, but surely you stick with him. And then it comes to Arsenal, we drop him today against Sunderland, who are his rivals as a Geordie. We drop him again, and you think
we're starting to understand how to play with Andy Carroll, and then Suarez comes back from his ban, and we seem to just lose him. And now we've forgotten how to play with Suarez. Cout, where the fuck was he today? I'm sorry. What was he even?
I think you make an excellent point there, Chris. I think tactically, it's gone by the wayside. We seem to be getting it right, as you said. Without Suarez, at least Carroll, we were starting to get the best out of Carroll. We were getting the best out of Cout again. We were getting the best out of Bellamy, and all of a sudden Suarez has come back, and every single one of them players is out of form. All of a sudden. Now the question is, again, goes back to tactically speaking, Mike. Kenny Dalglish, the questions have to be asked.
Yeah, and there's the fear with Kenny of, oh my God, he's untouchable, you can't talk about him in that rate. But if we put it in the clear context that it is, he's a manager of our football team. And the same that Roy Hodgson was, the same that Rafa Benitez was, the same that Gerrard Houllier was before him. You live and die by your decisions. And against Arsenal last week, to not make a change until the 85th, 86th minute.
88th, I think it was.
88th?
But we had 8 minutes of extra time or whatever it was, so they had 10 minutes. So it was essentially the 80th minute.
And then to take
Thanks
down
for stealing my line from this week's show, Chris. Anyway, carry on.
and to take down and off who was arguably one of our better players on the day, and not take Cout off.
Okay.
You know, and then today it seems like, let's be honest, the game was a dire game and it was a 0-0. Apart from their goal was.
Let's look at the game. Let's look at the game. In fairness, we were definitely the team on top.
Let's look at the game, Paul.
Yeah, well, we've got time. We've got time. But you know what? I tell you what. Let's have a quick pause for a little break, and we're back. We were definitely the side on top today.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any doubt. And people said, we were saying at half time, we created no chances. Sunderland created no real chances
They had
either.
one shot on goal and scored one.
And it hit Pepe on the back of the head, hit the post, hit Pepe on the back of the head.
Exactly.
And then dropped, you know. And again, going back to that criticism of Pepe Reina as a goalkeeper, madness. Sheer fucking madness.
I don't know, I mean, not to quote other TV shows, but the popular Saturday morning TV show on a certain...
That
channel.
Morning Soccer.
Yeah, that's the one. Had a certain Evertonian goalkeeper on of Neville Southall, who was...
Questionably, arguably the best goalkeeper that's ever played in the
First
Premier
question
League.
was asked to him, who's the best goalkeeper in the Premier League? Answer without hesitation, Pepe Reina.
And there's no goalkeeper in the league. The only goalkeeper in the league I would be... If we sold Pepe in world football, the only goalkeeper I would be happy to replace him with is Joe Hart. And there's no one else. Everyone else is a step down.
His argument for Pepe Reina, and they were going on about Clements and Grobbelaar and all that kind of stuff. They said the only reason why them players are classed better as a Liverpool keeper than Pepe Reina was because they won league medals.
Well, this is the Messi versus Pele argument, isn't it? Pele said, come back when you've won 3 World Cups. Well, you know, fuck off, Pele. Because at the end of the day, you advertised for erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, in fairness to Messi, he was managed by.
Anyway, we're not getting onto this because we're digressing.
Tactically, Rafa Benitez is far superior to Kenny Dalglish.
This is not. We've moved on from this anyway.
We're
talking about we're talking about the game. We're talking about the game. Yeah, no, but we're moving on.
I am not moving on. I am sticking with.
And this is why you're not the lead host of the show. Anyway, what we say about today's game, the fact of the matter is, we bossed the game once again. They had a freakish goal. We've got no plan B because we simply do not have the squad to cope with that. Now, here's where we come to the crux problem with Liverpool, and the problem we've had all season is that something that should have been solved in January, or do we have to accept, Mike, that this is just what Liverpool is for this season?
We have to accept that we are not the team that we were 3-4 years ago. The team that got to Champions League finals, the team that got to final, the team that finished second in the league. We are not that team anymore. We are not a Champions League team. We are where we are in the league because we have the team that plays to that standard. We deserve to be where we are.
We don't have the best midfield in the world anymore.
We don't have the best midfield in the world anymore.
Here you go. Perfect point. Best midfield in the world. Okay, it concluded Momo Sissoko, but he did a job in his day.
Great job.
Xabi Alonso, Mascherano, Steven Gerrard. Now, Steven Gerrard is 5 years a worse player than, you know, he's 5 years older, he's far past his peak, he's actually, and it's sad to say, on his way down.
Yeah.
Javier Mascherano's now playing for Barcelona, Xabi Alonso's playing for Real Madrid, and Momo Sissoko is technically blind in one eye. No, you look at our midfield as it is today. Jordan Henderson, Charlie Adam and Jay Spearing, all useful players in their own way, but in no stretch of the imagination world class. Now, here's the thing. We maybe could have gone out and bought world class players, but here's my point. In 2005, Rafa Benitez won the Champions League with a very, very poor side. As we always say, any side that has Jimmy Traore in it is a poor side. However, we've been in the Champions League since 2002. By that point, we were well-blooded into the Champions League.
Yeah.
Most of the players in that squad were used to it.
Yeah.
We had, regardless of actual individual ability, we had a very European edge squad. This is year one as far as this team goes, and they've got players in there who, as we've said last week, we won what's that?
Carling Cup. And that's 0 European.
Well, the thing is, the Carling Cup was the biggest thing that ever happened to them. Therefore, it just tells you volumes about where this side is as far as what we want it to be. It's a footnote in Gerrard's career, it's a footnote in Carragher's career, but for the vast majority of that squad, it's the biggest thing they have ever done, and if they get moved on in the summer, they will ever.
You know what? I know there's the Kenny bashing and there's the arguments that is very valid of where Kenny sits as a manager at the moment, but the decision today to drop Carragher and bring Suarez in, which I think it's crying out for. You've bought this young lad who won Young Player of the Tournament of the Copa America, and we've sat him on the bench all season. Carragher was at fault for at least one of the goals against Arsenal last week,
if not two.
And he's made a clear-cut decision today. Bang, let's bring Suarez in. Spot on. And Suarez didn't really put a foot wrong. Defensively, we didn't look bad.
No,
it's the same. I
disagree, mate. His passing was all right, but I don't think he ever looked assured.
Yeah, but it's technically, by all accounts, it might as well be his debut.
Yeah,
because he's played that little football for the side.
Looking at it
from a 20-year-old Groch who's come into the side.
We were talking in the pub about cockiness and confidence as a player.
Yeah.
But did Wayne Rooney come in and look like a shy little boy who's 6 foot fucking six? No,
okay, but when Wayne Rooney finishes his career, is he going to be classed as one of the greatest players ever to play the game? Yes. Will Coates be up there?
I hope so.
Well, you hope so, but on the odds, I think, will Martin Skrtel be classed as? Probably not. Will Daniel Agger? Probably not.
But all I'm saying is I don't think he had a great game. That's all I'm saying.
What were your thoughts on Coates? Because obviously there were big shouts before the game to get Coates in the team, and why not with literally nothing to play for in the league? What did you make of his performance? Do you think it was a good decision? Do you think Carragher should have started?
I still think it was a good decision to blood him in, but I don't think he had a good game. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying.
All you're saying.
Yeah. Okay, fair to say.
Okay, thanks. Point for no point's sake. Okay, let's look at the positives, Mike. What did you take from this game? I know. I'm gonna have a go.
Positives.
Suarez, although he didn't score and he didn't necessarily set up any great chances, it was the odd touch away from stuff, and we're literally.
That's the story of Luis Suarez, isn't it? It sounds like
we're clawing.
Glory, isn't it?
It sounds like we're clawing, but how many chances we were saying should Suarez be the centre forward? He beat a couple of men and he got to the byline, but his last touch was just a little bit heavy, and he's not quite there yet, but he's still so dangerous.
I mean, maybe I was a little bit disrespectful to Lewis during the game, because I said he doesn't get his head up enough, and at times he doesn't, but
he did
today, and I think the reason that last touch is so heavy, because he takes that touch because he gets his head up and thinks, shit, there's no one there, so I'll take another touch.
Yeah.
And then that touch is too heavy, and then the chance is gone.
Yeah. Again, what did you think of Suarez's performance? There was clear signs of him, as Mike says, getting his head up. He's looking up. There's no one there in the box once again. Dirk Kuyt is not. He was a centre forward. Whether it's been bred out of him, he's not that. Andy Carroll, he's meant to be a centre forward, even when he's there.
We don't have midfielders who bust a gut to get in the box.
We have no one from midfield getting in beyond. Steven Gerrard come on the pitch, and although he got involved and he looked lively, he still wasn't doing what we needed. On the substitute issue, we still made subs at sort of 68 minutes, 68, which is fine. Again, and there was a stat on the Anfield Wrap that said, as far as impact subs go, we're still well up there as far as the Premier League goes. Our subs have far more impact than most other.
That's because we have the kind of players who can make an impact now.
It's also to do with the time that you make them.
Yeah.
Obviously 60 minutes, they're not as players that you're playing against aren't as tired. 70, 80 minutes in the game, they are going to make more of an impact because the players that we're playing against are more tired. So it's a game with all stats.
Okay.
It's fucking...
So we've got to look ahead to Tuesday though, haven't we?
It's two. We've got the derby, and we're going to talk about the derby in a moment, but let's wind it up, boys. Mike, I know it's hard, but who was your man of the match for Liverpool?
I don't know, I've said this a million times this season now. I think Martin Skrtel.
Chris?
The grey Martin Skrtel. And I don't like agreeing with people.
You're an argumentative smash apart. I can't argue with Martin Skrtel. I thought he did very well in that game today, and if you agree, if you disagree, please let us know in the comment section below. Do get involved, please do retweet this video, let us know what you thought about the Reds' performance on the whole. Thanks so much for getting involved. We're going to be talking about Everton shortly, so please do get involved with that show. That show will be out a little bit later than obviously the match reaction, but please do get involved. We'll see you there in a moment. Thank you very much. Ta-ra.